Several prominent Illinois lawmakers visiting a naval base north of Chicago today, which is expected to house operations for ICE officers. President Trump and state leaders have been at odds over the ICE assignment and potential National Guard troop deployment to the Windy City to crack down on crime. NewsNation's Nancy Liu is live for us at that Chicago area naval base. So, Nancy, what is the latest?
Well, Nicole, we heard Senators Dick Durbin as well as Tammy Duckworth, along with Congressman Brad Schneider. They, as you might expect, really laid into the Trump administration, calling whatever's planned for Chicago and Illinois an act of political theater. Well, this morning, those lawmakers, they met with Navy leaders here at Great Lakes Naval Station. They toured the facility, getting assurances that ICE agents will only be using office space on base, and they won't be storing any lethal weapons for whatever missions they have planned. Now, sources tell NewsNation 300 additional ICE officers are expected to arrive in Illinois by this weekend, and immigration enforcement operations will escalate in the days ahead. I asked the senators about the prospect of potential protest violence in Illinois. We know that the ICE unit that was in action in Southern California, they are on their way to Illinois. How concerned are you about things perhaps going sideways here in Illinois?
Very concerned. The reason for the meeting was to get some clarity. If you ask the average person what's going to happen at Great Lakes, they would have come back with an answer that might not be accurate at all. What we learned today was there are limitations to the relationship between the Department of Homeland Security and the Navy. They were spelled out in detail in a long briefing, very good briefing. So I think that's what we were trying to accomplish today. But no, I don't endorse that sort of conduct happening in California or Illinois.
The fact that DHS refused to meet with us, they actually gave everybody the day off and they left the facility and they locked the doors. This is not the action of somebody that is proud of what they're doing, and this is not the action of somebody that is doing something legal, all right? Great Lakes met with us. Great Lakes Navy leadership were very kind and were great, were very open with us, but DHS fled. They fled and they're hiding, and that is a clear indication of how secretive they want to be on this effort, and so we are deeply concerned and we're going to stay on top of it.
Your thoughts then on the court action in California and the ruling there, and that it cost California $120 million?
It was a right ruling, but of course the question is, where does it apply? It certainly applies where that California district judge was presiding, but beyond the state of California to Illinois is a question.
Chicago already seeing new protest activity at the ICE detention center in Broadview, that's west of the city. Some have tried to block officers from transporting detainees. Now, threatening or impeding the work of federal agents, that is a federal crime. In fact, FBI Chicago has just announced the arrest of someone who made death threats against federal officers here in Illinois. Nicole?
All right, so Nancy, what kind of impact is the prospect of these ICE raids having on Chicago residents right now?
Yeah, definitely a ripple effect because of fear and anxiety throughout the immigrant population. Illinois has a total of over 500,000 undocumented immigrants, and in those communities, there is fear. We're hearing of people afraid to send their kids to school, afraid to even go to church or go to the store. We know that in LA, the ICE operations, they were everywhere, and of course they were unannounced. And because of fear, the El Grito Festival here in Chicago, that's already been postponed. There is talk of making special arrangements for Mexican Independence Day parades that are upcoming. Tomorrow there is one in the Pilsen neighborhood. Next week there's coming up in Little Village. So definitely concern. But the immigrant population here is on edge, aware, and alert. Nicole?
All right, Nancy Liu, live for us just north of Chicago. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.